Hola, amigos y amigas. It's your boy, Christopher Alexander Robert Clark Youngblood. Today is Friday, June 26th, 2026. It is 2:42 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sorry, there's noises outside my door. Um, we're back, baby. What a long, strange journey it has been since the last time I spoke to you. The last time I was on this microphone, I remember I started involuntarily vomiting, like dry heaving. Like, I was like, what was that? And I think that was either Saturday or Sunday. Today's Friday, so almost 2 weeks ago. And that Sunday was a UFC White House card, which was fucking incredible. The UFC White House card was, I think, the best UFC card I've ever seen in my life. I'll get to it in a second. I wasn't even planning on talking about that. I forgot about that, dude, because that day I went to my buddy Anthony's place to watch the fights. And first walkout, Diego Lopez and who did Diego Lopez fuck up? Diego Lopez fought, I forget who it was. Anyway, Diego Lopez won. During that fight, I started feeling like incredibly cold, chills. Felt sick. If I was going to throw up, if I was going to shit my pants, which is what I proceeded to do for the next 3 days, 4 days. Dude, I had rotavirus. And I think, didn't last episode I go off on vaccines and fucking illnesses and shit? Man, every time I get humbled. If my thoughts get too out of line, if my words especially get too out of line, the universe, the world, like slaps me right back into my place. So I was talking shit about people being pussy. I don't know exactly. Anyway, I was going off about the vaccine schedule for infants and being like way too heavy. Anyway, that was kind of also informed because I knew the kid I take care of, he's almost 2 years old. I knew he was sick, and I'm in this mentality of like, it doesn't matter, my job, and so I agreed to go see him. His mom would have been fine if I didn't, if I'd taken the day off. I agreed to go see him. I agreed to take him to the doctor because he's sick, and it is my job, and I don't want to be scared of germs. But holy fuck, dude. I got sick as fuck from that kid. I was so sick. Oh man, it was like 3 days of like barely sleeping, shit, diarrhea, vomit, super fevers. And then my girlfriend got sick, and that I won't get into the details of all that, but it put a strain. We had our own little like mini COVID. You have all these stories like people getting divorced during COVID. We had our own mini fucking COVID relationship destruction type. Anyway, I'll spare you the details, but it strained our relationship. I'll put it that way. So yeah, that was that. And then this took about a week to recover from that. It took a couple days off of work where I just couldn't do anything, and then was back with my boy Cooper. By the end of the week last week, and then my sister leaves for town. I'm just rambling about my life right now, but my sister left for Europe, and so I've been taking care of her dog in Ventura, which is an hour and a half outside of LA. So every day since last Saturday, almost a week now, I've been driving back, commuting from Ventura. Spend the night in Ventura. Wake up in the morning, first thing, walk the dog, hop in the car, drive to Burbank, which is an hour and a half, do my yoga, go to the gym, run to Cooper's house, take care of Cooper for the afternoon, come back to this place in Burbank, eat dinner, back in the car, like 9 to 10:30, driving back to Ventura, falling asleep, waking up, walking the dog. Oh, man. And also, fuck it, let's just go to my full life, dude. The day that after last week, after the week of being sick, vomiting, diarrhea all week, Friday, whatever, I just talk about it. Friday, well, that Thursday night, I had a rough night with a girlfriend. That was her night. She had it the worst, and we had issues in our personal relationship that night. I slept on the couch and not for sickness reasons. So I wake up that next morning, like, what just happened with our, relationship? Not to mention both of us just terribly sick all week. And then I have to go to the GI, no, what is it? No, colorectal surgeon for hemorrhoids that I've been having for years now that are just gotten, like, out of control. And I thought, fuck it, I'll talk about it all. The hemorrhoids need to be removed, but that required a colonoscopy a few weeks ago. All good, colonoscopy. Colon's clean as a whistle. Cleanest colon in Burbank. So then I had a follow-up appointment. I thought it was a follow-up appointment for, like, the colonoscopy or whatever. Then to schedule the hemorrhoids procedure. The dude just goes and fucking chops off these hemorrhoids. Actually, they put rubber bands around them, which is just like having rubber bands attached around these fucking blood vessels in your anus. Dude, that was a fucking bizarre experience. It's like and it's painful, but not like excruciating, but it's just like, ugh. I felt it's like having anal sex is for the first time or something. I like passed out once this dude was done. He's like, "You good?" I'm like, "I think I'm good." Like, to walk, and I go to schedule my, like, whatever. He, like, slaps me on the ass basically. Like, "All right, see you later, soldier." And then he's like, "Go to the front desk, schedule a follow up." By the time I get to the front desk, I'm like losing consciousness. So I went to the bathroom and just like collapsed on the bathroom, and then I had to lay there, like the bathroom floor, and like crawled my way back out into the hallway, and then they like laid me down in this bed in like an empty room. I laid there for like 20 minutes, and then hopped back in my car. I headed back to my apartment. I'm like, I might even have a girlfriend anymore after last night. Not to mention just like completely drained physically from the week of rotavirus. And then like, all right, I guess now it's time to commute back and forth to fucking Ventura for a week. So that's been the past week on this fucking like freshly operated on hemorrhoids and tailbone, fucking the tailbone from the fucking mountain. Anyway, this is a fucking podcast we can play anyway. Anyway, it's all good. I'm good. Dude, so, 3 hours of driving this past week on freshly, I guess, like the rubber bands cut off the blood supply to the hemorrhoid, so it's like dying, undying hemorrhoids in a tailbone that is a month off of jiu-jitsu. And then the good news is this week I started back at jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. So we're back training, World Championship September 1st. Certainly this has not been the year of training that I wanted. Moving back in January, no medical insurance in February. Back at it for a month in March, fucked up my toe, took some time off. Back at it in April to May, fucked up my tailbone, month off. And then now back at it towards the end of June. I have all of July, all of August to train for World Championships, which is, I guess, kind of like the minimum amount you'd want, but let's fucking get it. So yeah, that's that. That's what's been cracking in my own life. UFC White House, the card was insane. Josh Hokett, I love Josh Hokett. I don't give a fuck if you don't like Josh Hokett. You don't get the joke, man. What Josh Hokett represents, Josh Hokett is a UFC, like, heavyweight rocket ship right now. This guy's got like 5 fights into the UFC. He's obliterated everyone. Not even, maybe 4. And he's obliterated everyone. He's not even legit heavyweight. Honestly, he should be fighting a light heavyweight. But that's his whole fucking attitude. He doesn't give a fuck. I'm not cutting weight. I'm just going to go and walking at my size. And then he just says whatever he wants. He has these different fucking personalities. The fucking Mexican gangster personality. He has the fucking like shy Josh, like kind of autistic personality. And then he has the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, who is like this super bombastic, loves America. He says whatever the fuck he wants personality. And it's awesome. And I love it. It's super fucking corny. Of course it is. That's the joke. The whole point is like this guy's going for it. He goes for it in his fight. His fighting style is out of control. He's fighting guys that are way bigger than him. And then he's proven to you I can say whatever the fuck I want and no one can stop me. If you're bigger than me, if you're quote unquote better than me, more experienced than me, I'm gonna say the craziest fucking shit and no one can do anything about it. And he's in on the joke. He doesn't like mean the shit he said. Clearly, he's like trying out different fucking characters. So he's doing this like intense, dude. It's gotta be so much pressure and to go in there and fight in a cage, and then on top of that, he's like organizing these like fucking stand-up bits and different characters and memorizing fucking poems in his post-fight speeches. It's like, and that's how you get attention in the game. That's the fight game, dude. And these guys do not get paid well. The only way for these guys to like ensure their highest possible revenue is to garner attention with their fighting style, and then ideally also beyond their fighting style. So that's exactly what this, outside of the case with a personality, be it, whatever that personality may be. Usually, though, the more bombastic or controversial, the better. And so, he knows that people hate him and are going to want to watch him more. I love him. I love the personality. He's literally my new favorite fighter. And ironically enough, he just beat the, what I would call my ex. I love Derek Lewis, my former favorite fighter. But Derek Lewis, the time is he's beyond it. Incredible fucking a legend of the game, literally the all-time leader in knockouts in UFC history, Derek Lewis. But this hot young kid's coming up, dude. Josh Hokit was an All-American. I think he's an All-American wrestler and an All-American football player, or at least he was an All-American wrestler, and he made it onto an NFL roster, dude. He was on the 49ers practice squad for I think multiple years. That means you go through training camp, you make it through training camp. That means you're like elite athlete on planet Earth. If you're on an NFL roster, and then on top of that, having the wrestling pedigree at an all-American level, I mean, the UFC does not garner that kind of athlete. That kind of athlete is not typically going into MMA. So he's an elite athlete, dude, and he doesn't give a fuck. And he's going to get the belt. He's super small. If he decides at some point to start cutting down to light heavyweight, he will for sure get the belt. Anyway, so crazy that my takeaway from White House card was Josh Hokit. Of all things, two legends lost their belts. Alex Pereira lost his belt. It's a Ciryl Gane in a crazy fight. Ciryl Gane looked good. He did land a bunch of fucking elbows in the back of the head to Poatan. But he also looked really good. But Ciryl Gane's now he's a great, super nice guy outside the ring, this French guy, but he's getting a reputation of being a super dirty fighter. And so he's a real villain. Let's get a real villain. A Frenchman wins a belt at the White House in a dirty way, coming off a fight where he's accused of dirty tactics, poking Tom Aspinall in the eye in his last title fight. So I love Poatan. Poatan can come back. Poatan can another guy that could cut down to light heavyweight if he wanted to get the belt back. But I think he just comes back for it. Heavyweight is back, dude. Aspinall gone. Hokit. Who am I missing? Aspinall gone. Hokit. Pereira, obviously. Poatan. Salsa Boy. Waldo Cortez Acosta. Sergey Pavlovich, Sergey Alexander Volkov. So there's dudes. Ilya Topuria lost his belt. UFC legend, moving up from featherweight to lightweight. People thought this dude was invincible. Comes up against American legend Justin Gaethje. Man, the UFC is so badass. Justin Gaethje coming off 2 years ago at UFC 300, getting basically to look like he got murdered in the octagon at the end of the fight with Max Holloway, put into the center of the octagon with 10 seconds left, and they just scrapped. One of the most legendary moments in UFC history, UFC 300. Justin Gaethje gets slept and put into the shadow realm in a way that like no other fighter in UFC history has. And Justin Gaethje is a legend of the octagon. One of the most, probably my favorite in-cage fighter ever, the violence he displays in the octagon. And he got put the fuck out 2 years ago in a way that you thought maybe like that's it. Comes back and he's a fucking right-wing conservative American dude. In front of Trump at the White House, comes back and beats a guy that people thought was invincible in Ilya Topuria, the Spaniard. And, dude, destroys him. I mean, granted, he looked way bigger. Ilya was moving up from 145 to 155. Gaethje's a 155er, standard. And he looked way bigger. And he put it on Topuria in a way that no one expected, which is incredible. You got the Hokit fight. All the fights were in finishes at the UFC White House card. The way that the production of them walking out of the White House, Dude, Gaethje's in the Oval Office to start his walkout, literally reading the Declaration of Independence. Like, what the fuck? And then walks out into the cage to win the belt after getting slept 2 years ago in the most like legendary knockout in UFC history. It's just such a cool story, such a cool sport, man. Incredible. Since then, the World Cup has been popping off hardcore. First round of the World Cup. USA Soccer's fucking back, baby. I don't know what happened yesterday in the Turkey game. But it didn't matter. Turkey game didn't matter. We had already advanced around at 32. We're going to take on Bosnia and Herzegovina. And we're going to put it on those motherfuckers from Bosnia. God bless them. Yugoslavia and all that shit. That country's been through a lot, but sorry. They're about to get it on July 1st. And then we're going to advance to the round of 16. I think we might play something like Belgium. We're not going to play Brazil, Spain, Germany, France in the round of 16. From what I understand, we're going to play like the next year, like a Belgium, maybe like a Morocco, which, these are quality squads. Don't get me wrong. And the USA does not have a great history against European nations in the World Cup, but let's put it on fucking Bosnia, guys. Let's not fucking blow it against Bosnia. That's what one fear, dude. We're already looking ahead to the round of 16 and, a potentially run to the Elite Eight, man, in the quarterfinals, potentially. But anyway, we're way ahead of ourselves. USA Soccer's coming back. The World Cup's fucking pretty sick, man. So many games, man. I've been watching so many games. I think that's also why I've had some relationship troubles recently. It's like all my attention's on my phone and laptop watching these fucking games. Yeah. All right, let's get in the fucking cosmic calendar. Cosmic calendar, studying each week, a week of the cosmic calendar. If you were to break the history of the 14 billion year history of the universe into 52 weeks, it's going to be about roughly 300 million years per week that we study it here. We're at week 8, 2.4 billion years into the universe's history. And the big news this week is planets. From what I'm on my fucking little AI typing in research and shit, kind of calibrating what's going on at this time in the universe's development, it seems like this is the time that planets start popping on the scene, right? We have stars. Obviously, we've been talking about the different stars. Population 3 stars, population 2 stars. This is a time in the universe's history that is approaching cosmic noon. We've discussed that, which is, basically the most active star production era in the universe's history. It's not quite the highest level of star production, but we're approaching what is known as cosmic noon, which is like peak star production. And so if you were to look at the night sky at the universe during this time, 2.4 billion years in the universe's history, there's way more stars in the skies than you'd see today. Obviously, we live in fucking cities, but, even if you took out all the fucking artificial lights and all that shit, the universe would be exploding with star production. It'd be stars, a very bright night sky. And the overall structure of the universe is starting to appear like it does today. Galaxies are becoming much bigger. Prior to this 2.4 billion year mark, galaxies were forming. We're having proto-galaxies merging together, but there are smaller scales. Galaxies are now becoming much larger with giant large spaces between them, like we see in today's structure of the universe. Dog barking outside. I don't know if that's going to bother you. I'm hoping someone doesn't walk in right now. Throw me off. But overall, the structure of the universe is starting to take on the structure of what we see today. Galaxies are becoming much bigger. By this time, galaxies are containing like billions and billions of stars. Many of these galaxies are also, I don't want to say many, let's say some. Some of these galaxies are also starting to resemble the disk structure. More and more, this like spiral disk structure with the planets with elliptical orbits. And at the center of these galaxies, increasingly these massive supermassive black holes. However, we're seeing like this kind of like this good and evil, right? Of like stars and planets, yay! It's like blooming flowers, and like super like massive black holes and quasars that shoot out of them when they're like consuming too much shit. As we've talked about the last couple of weeks, that balance is starting to go in more of production and flowers and less, consumption of black holes and the resultant quasars that are emitted from them. So yeah, galaxies getting bigger. Structure of the universe is appearing more recognizable to what we know now, just with way more stars. So something very interesting. We're now I'm seeing the emergence of talking about planets are now forming. So what's happening is stars are forming. A single star is forming. And then there's like this remaining material, dust and debris and metal and gas around that is still floating out there around the star and starts orbiting the star because these stars are massive. And so what's happening is this, just like a star, this cosmic material is like coalesces under the forces of gravity and dark matter, are coalesces in these round spherical shapes. These are planets now. They're not reaching the size and heat of a star. That's what differentiates kind of the planet formation and star formation. They're much smaller, and they never reach the point of nuclear fusion occurring within them. So it's not like this massive nuclear reactor like a star is, this giant hot furnace. They're cooler and they're smaller planets. And what are known as a planetesimal, which is, I guess, just when enough debris kind of coalesces together. And I think a planetesimal is like a kilometer across or something. And these little planetesimals, these like giant little balls, start coalescing together and coming together like a snowball of some kind. And it gets larger and larger, and you have yourself a planet. And that planet starts orbiting around that super massive nuclear furnace that is, in its neighborhood, and that's a star. And now we start having galaxies. And so you have a solar system, which is a star with planets circling around them. Those solar systems, comprise a larger system of stars, potentially billions of stars, and that's known as a galaxy. And that's how the universe starts to build itself out. Allegedly. So yeah, cool. Planets are on the system now. Trying to think of anything else about planets and the star formation that doesn't pop in my head. I think I kind of described it in a relatively understandable way. Anyway, like the fusion. Like I said, the planets don't reach the heat and size of a star. There's no nuclear fusion occurring in the center of them. If there's nuclear fusion is when, hydrogen elements combine to form helium element, and that's like the explosion of like gas that you see from a star, I believe. I don't know. Fuck, I should have gone on the nuclear fusion road. But, yeah, planets do not reach that size and temperature. So they're not like bright, shining nuclear explosions in the sky, right? They're basically a giant rock. But they can also contain water because, as we discussed before, at this point in the universe's history, you've got hydrogen and you've got oxygen. So there's no reason you wouldn't have water. So now these planetary systems or planetary bodies could contain water, or systems of planets contain water. You got water, you got life, and this, this is way before the Milky Way is done forming. This is way before the Earth has been formed, and so potentially, you've got planets out there since, let's call it 2.4 billion years that have water on them, and so God knows what kind of life could potentially exist. Which is why we also need to recognize, like, I'm talking about ChatGPT or whatever told me about this. This is just what we know now, So, and it should, I think it's very important to just constantly recognize that, like, this is science as we know it today as Earthlings in 2026. Who knows? This is just, what we know now as little human beings out here. Water exists, life. We got planets. We got cosmic noon. Yeah, that's basically what's cracking on week 8. Week 9, we're going to go about 2.4 billion years to 2.7 billion years. We'll check that bitch off next week, and I'll keep coming at you. I'm trying to think if anything else is popping. Back training, that's good. Work is cool. I'm nannying. It's great. It's great to be with a little boy. I feel so blessed to have him in my life and help him grow in ways that I hope I'm adding value to the kid's life in terms of the intentionality. Like, it's like having a little coach. You get to have a little coach with him every day to work on the things he needs to work on, that little kids need to work on, whether it's talking or running or throwing. It's cool that we get to do that every day. To be this kid's little personal coach. It's fun. And it's a different game with boys, man. I can't help I hate to say it, but it's like you're tougher on boys than I was when I was raising 2 little girls the previous 6 years. Adding a second job coming up where we'll be working with an adult with autism here in Burbank. Doing the same thing, with him. He's a dude in his 30s who struggles with, a disability. And so just to get to be his personal coach too on things that, a grown man needs to work on. So cool to kind of mapping out this little coaching, whatever journey of whatever it is I'm doing, piecing it together and trying to become more intentional and directional with where it's going. And if not, go back to teaching. Because, like I said before, I miss the routine and especially ability to take vacations that teaching provided. And so, but anyway, that's the journey I'm on right now, professionally, personally. Got some work to do in my romantic relationship, but we'll keep at it. And then, recreationally or, physically, keep grinding jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, but especially jiu-jitsu in preparation for World Championships in Vegas on September 1st. That's what's up over here. I love you all. Namaste.